One time I'm going to get that right. I really am. I had it set up and all this practicing, and I still screw it up. Never mind. Well, I'm waiting for my feed to come through to the screen, but let's give a few shout outs. So who have we got? Scrolling back, Demon Orb, first off the block. Thank you and welcome to you. Crafty Keeler, very crafty. You snuck in there at number 2. So who else we got? We got Skyfly Bry, boom. Kevin Cross. Have I heard anything about Derry? Derry we'll talk about. Arctic Haze, Ugly German Truce. Hello to you guys. And Ugly had a lot to say. The Snark, hello. SKS. Oh dear. Have we got an idiot in here already? Well, SKS, you're welcome to join us as long as you don't use gratuitous swearing or stuff like that. You'll find out if you breach the rules. So who else do we have? Actually, I'm just going to check the sound is coming through. Yes, it is. Excellent. Heat Shield, hello to you. Martin H, hello. Brixie, who took on the internet in the quiz last week. Well done, sir. That was great. I really enjoyed it. Oh, I fixed something. Let's see if I can do it. Are you ready? Let's give this a try. Yeah. Wow, how about that then? I can make it come up at will. A little bit of digging around and it's sorted. Yes, I've got one or two other little tricks in there as well. And no doubt I'll develop it in time. Jay, is it? Hello to you. Ivan James Hunt, good evening. Scrolling on down. And oi. Mohammed Shafiq, a new friend of mine. Mohammed, I really do appreciate the help you've been giving me and the support you've been giving me in comments on a certain video. Something wrong with my mix. Hello. That's a little better. Can't hear me at all. Oh, Mr. Victory. Hello, I'm glad you're here. Please stay around. Is Little Miss V there? I have a little surprise for Little Miss V. Hope she's there. Brainless Steel, hello. Oh, finally, it's the first time. Oh, live again. Well, welcome back. And Irish, not a guy, Dublin. I'm learning, even if other people aren't Irish. Matt Churchyard, hello to you. And Pointless Pilots. What do Flurfs use for belts? I don't know, Pointless. What do Flurfs use for belts? I'll wait for the answer for that. Thud needs pizza. I had pizza at work today. Suddenly, someone in one of the other departments splashed out and bought a load of pizzas for us all, which was really nice. And Vic Jagger, hello to you. So I'm waiting to hear if Little Miss V is there. I hope she is. Let me just rearrange some windows because I'm not. There's one aspect of this I didn't set up. Oh, what's happening? Yep, that's okay. Well, I hope that you are all well, keeping well, maintaining your required 2 metre distance from people, and yeah, generally staying well. Right, Mr. V. Never mind. Get her to watch this live stream and look at this.
No.
Oh, I hope she likes that because now I can call that up whenever I want. Love it. Love it. Order some online. Oh, online pizza. Can we all have some? Thud's ordering pizza for us all. I'll have a pepperoni with extra chili, I think. TGK2K. Yes, I am good. Thank you, sir. I must be in production room for a news station, says Heat Shield. Maybe, because what I can also do is pop up the topic. Yes. The background art we will use, let's go over to the other screen. The background art we use is Mr. Victories again, as ever. I think this one's called Comfy something. I actually recorded this in time for the quiz, but didn't use it. Irish, I've never called you a guy. I try to be very careful not to assume anything. But I did notice recently several people have been calling you a guy, but I picked up on it. Fleurs Le Van Allen belts. Yeah, stuff in general. Where are we? Yeah, pointless. Any more like that and you'll be out, mate. Yeah, we're not going to have a pizza chat. We've had lots of other food chats. Oh dear, Galen. That's a silly thing to say. And I have hidden it. Just to be clear, for any of you 5G conspiratards, claims that it causes certain diseases, claims that it's going to cook your little noodle are false. Obviously, YouTube is picking up on it, even in the chat, which is great. And please, mods, we will block that sort of rubbish. We're happy to discuss things about 5G, but we will not have unsupported, ridiculous, anti-scientific claims. Right, yeah, so stuff. There's a couple of things that spring to mind. I'll get Oakley out the way first. My challenge, which I had issued following that whole ridiculous fallout from my debate with Mitchell from Australia with the ridiculous claims. Mitchell couldn't show me where I said those things. Riley couldn't show me where I said those things. Our favourite pirate hasn't even had a go. And of course, I did a video targeted at Oakley, trying to see if he'll have a go. Well, someone kindly, and I do apologise because, yes, sorry, I'm just seeing some of those 5G causes brain damage leads to flat earthism. Yeah, well, maybe. Cheese on sticks and sausage rolls. Look, you're distracting me. Someone kindly sent me a link. I think, oh, who was it? I do apologise. Just having a look back. I think it might be Mr. Bozo Head. But I could be wrong. Yeah, sent me a link to a part of Oakley's, one of his live streams, where someone asked him if he'd heard about it, and he said no, he didn't know I'd done a video targeted to him. They then started talking about the whole challenge. Oh yeah, he said, I know that, and started to break it down badly, and comes to the same fail as Mitch and Riley. So what I'm wondering is, do I bother to bitch make Oakley, or is it just a total waste of time? He's got until tomorrow to enter. He cannot deny that he knew about it because on his live stream someone pointed it out. So, because I can imagine him turning around and saying, oh no, well, I didn't know about it. But he definitely does. So I don't know. Should I do this or not? What do you reckon? I'll leave it open to you guys. Maybe I should put a poll on my community page. See what people think. Because it's not directly about the Black Swan. We all know that's dead. It's about the Modus Tollens thing. But then I should think people... Crafty Keeler. I never knew such language would come out of your mouth. But yeah, you want me to bitch make him.
To me's definition is a, usually, large and scholarly book.
What? Alexa, shut up. Where did that come from? I don't know what she was saying. I wasn't really listening. I didn't say anything like her name, did I? Ah. Simon Dan as a 5G vid. Yeah, I'm not surprised. I think that currently is going to be the latest topic, isn't it? Show him up to be the harebrain he is. He's a lunatic. Yeah, Christopher, he does bitch make himself, so why flog a dead horse? I understand that too. I think what I will do, yeah, treading the balls, waste of time. I can agree. Yeah, sorry, Crafty, you are full of surprises. I can agree. He is a waste of time. I think what I'll do is I probably will post a poll on my community page and leave the final decision either way to everyone there. I think that's probably the only thing I could do. I could do a thumbs up or thumbs down now, but it'd be hard to really keep track and get it right. So probably that will be the best way. Super chat just come in. Let's just stretch that window. Mr. Chris Kellings super chatted $20. Thank you very, very much, Chris. Saying, I know this has no meaning for you, but Good Friday to all. Now back to exposing the stupid. Well, I wish you a Good Friday too, Chris. I've no problem with that at all. And I hope you enjoy your Easter. I'm not sure where you are around the world. Maybe you're stateside because of the that's in dollars. And I don't know what your lockdown sort of thing is like wherever you are. But I hope that you are able to have a good and enjoyable time. I really do. Oh, Colon's here. Good. Now we can start. Hello, C. Hope you're well, pal. Yes. A lot of people are doing 5G vids. I'm doing... I could announce this now, I suppose. Tomorrow, you've all heard of David Icke's banned vid. My vid tomorrow is about that. It'll be out my usual time, 21:15 BST. So is that UTC +1? I think it might be UTC +1. Ugly German Truth watches what it puts out. If you don't like it, still have a little X in the corner. Make videos you enjoy, not the videos the mob clamours for. Yeah, I fully understand, and I think Crafty Keeler would be aware that I gave that very same advice to her. With this, I'm absolutely cool doing Oakley, and absolutely cool not doing Oakley. So in this instance, I will leave it to everyone else. And I'll abide by the wishes because I'm cool either way. 666G. Yeah, well, they will have a problem then. Or what about 33G, the Masonic phone system? Mr. Streamlabs, you're right. It does make sense. Tell others about Mr. Sensible's channel. Thank you. Mohammed Shafiq. Thunderfoot. Excellent channel, isn't he? Oh, Brixie. You've gone blue, pal. You've gone blue. Did you realise that? Did you notice? I'm not sure if you did. You've been blue a little while. Right. Watto, greetings. And Robert, greetings to you. So, I'll leave that with regard to Oakley then. It's up to me then to put a post on the community channel. Sticking a bit with the 5G though. Derry Francis. The guy I did in a video, 2-3 days ago. It was actually a 2-part video, wrapped into one. The first bit being him, scoping out a brand new 5G installation. He's previously been hanging around it and had police kick him off. But he's been hanging around the installation saying it's got to come down. And there was a second video on his channel that I mistakenly thought was him. Turns out it's not. It's a mirror of another guy showing you how to dismantle and then wreck an LED streetlight. Now, I thought that was Derry, and I said to report both the videos. Now, it turns out it's someone else. That's fine. Someone or several people pointed out it's a guy called Stone Giant, a guy or a gal called Stone Giant 369, I think. So report it there as well. And then what Derry did last night is he took my video and just mirrored it. He didn't put any commentary on it. He didn't make any edits. He just mirrored the entire video without asking, of course. Didn't even provide a link to it, and just basically said, look at this idiot. Well, that would be fine. I have no problem with people trying to debunk me or debunking me. But he wasn't doing that. He just basically stole my whole video and seems to have no idea about copyright because he said, what do I care? I've got nothing to lose. This guy is incredible. Chris Kelling reported the video vandalism. Good. I know that the police are aware of him because there's another video of officers coming to his door because I think he was breaking the COVID restrictions. Thank you, Mohammed. It was the mistake was pointed out very shortly after the video went up, so I straight away added an errata to the description with a link to the original video. I don't know, actually, thinking about it, I don't know if the original guy even knows that Derry's got it. If he's prone just to ripping off people's entire videos without asking or saying anything, who knows? Might be nice to let him know. Strike him. Yet, Demon, I am seriously considering that. I thought I would be Sorry, 1 second. That's where, Wally. Sorry, mate. Should be sorted now. That should have been done a long time ago. It's when I see people and when I think about it. Sorry. Just post something, Wally, and see if it's worked. There you go. Happy to do that for you, pal. And that's thoroughly distracted me. I don't know what the hell I was saying now. Oh, dear. And just in case anyone asks, Arnold is not in here tonight. I don't know where he is. I think he's breaking curfew. He cares little for police and regulations, much like Derry Francis. But then, oh, thank you, Arctic. I think a lot of people have reported it, and quite right too. Crafty Keeler, on and off for a bit, but I'm still listening. You better be, because you never know when you might just get mentioned. You might, and you wouldn't want to miss that, would you? Oh, some other news. In the middle of the quiz, we did I did Ed's challenge about him cooking a meal for Emily. I hope you all remember that. Well, I went into work today. They were there. They were laughing their socks off. They saw it live. They saw it live. They loved it. They loved all the comments, even the rude ones commenting on his efforts. But at least he had a go, and Emily was pleased and enjoyed the meal, and that's what's important. And they took it in exactly the way it was meant, which is nice, light-hearted fun. Right, I've got to ask, because I'm not up with this. I've seen this a lot lately. What the hell does it mean when people keep typing typewriter? Someone please explain, because I just don't know. I've tried to work it out, but I don't know. Mohammed, I saw that Derry released a video. Oh, he was going on about someone in shorts and not wearing gloves and not wearing a mask. There is no... Well, obviously, I guess you guys all know, in the UK anyway. There, was I Irish? Was I? I'm not so sure about that. Well, I've got the beers in here. So if you pop round, you're welcome to have one. Go. Yeah, typewriter. But yeah, I have forgotten what I was saying. An answer from Creaky's quiz. Oh, I see. Right, I did see some of Creaky's quiz, and I felt hard done by, because I put in an answer, and he claimed I'd changed my answer. Yeah, it certainly is having a lot of legs. QWERTY, yeah. So this Derry is being a pain. Oh, and boy, some of his subs are dim. They said that he should have me for defamation of character and slander, and that's a crime. Well, actually, it's a civil offence, slander is. And the fact that he was encouraging people to come on down with tools to help take down that 5G tower, I said criminal damage. They said, oh no, he hasn't damaged anything. It's called incitement. I know my stuff with that sort of thing. Mr. On the first plane. Okay, Irish. Well, let yourself in, and you can come on the stream, and you can help yourself to a beer. What do you mean on the first plane? I don't think there are any planes, are there? Have you noticed how few chemtrails there are recently? I noticed that today. Took apart a 1940s typewriter. Well, that's fascinating. I've got the that computer hand punch. I need to take that to bits to try and clean it up and get it working again. But there's so many, and that sort of thing does fascinate me. But there are so many little springs and bits and pieces that I'm terrified if I do take it to bits, I've had it, and I'm not going to get it working again, which would be a shame. With regard to the stream tonight, I'm going to have to finish at a reasonable time. I think pretty much 11 at the latest, because I've been on a reserve rota list for work, considering the situation, and they called me in again for tomorrow. So I've got a 7 a.m. start, I'm afraid. Good evening. I wouldn't know how to say it. Roggenwalder? Roggenwalder. Roggenwalder. You're going to smuggle some gigs. That's very nice Irish. I'm not sure what I'll do with them. Perhaps I'll put them on a shelf because I'm not even sure what they are. Not sure. I suppose since you're ugly and thud still talking about pizzas, pineapple on pizzas or not? That'll kick you all off. Yes, Brixie, that's exactly it. Have you never seen it? 1 second. God, it's heavy. It's a bit dusty as well, but here it is. An original late 1960s, 70s onwards ICT computer hand punch for 80 column cards. I'm going to put it down with a crash. God, that thing must weigh. It's got to weigh 10 kilos. So heavy. So heavy. Ronald. Okay, whatever you say. I'll just call you Big Ron then, shall I? I don't know. No pineapples. I agree. Brother Grieve says, no, you did it. No. And just in time. Come on, little Miss V. I like this. Oh, bugger. That's all very well, but now I've done the wrong window. There we go. I think that's all right. Oh, look, you can see through her eyes. I'll have to try and fix that. Sorry, I'm watching it now. I'll have to work on the green screen a bit. Chris Kelling, no, I didn't see the preview of the new Red Dwarf. I presume it's the proper Red Dwarf, the British one. Do I have a Sperry Univac System 80 mainframe to go with it? I used to work on ICL 2900s and ME29s. All those many years ago. Oh, where's Wally? Done a Nathan slappage. I like that. I'll have to watch that, Wally. Although, as I said, I've got work tomorrow, early start, so I won't be watching stuff tonight much as I may like to. Latest technology. Bjorn, you said it's something you could find in a museum archive. Absolutely you can. I actually contacted Fujitsu a few years back, who were a company that took over ICL, who were the company that came out of ICT a few years back, to see if they could value it, and they couldn't. And I've looked around and found one guy selling sort of historic computer equipment, and he offered me not much money at all for it. He did have a picture on his website showing one that he had sold on, but because it was sold, there was no price showing. I suspect he'd have bought it for a song and made a packet. I rescued that when it was about to be thrown into a skip in about 1989, 1990, something like that. They were still using the last few of them and chucking most of them out. So I thought, no, that's history, that is. I'm killing it. Killing it, keeping it. Sorry, I read Kelling, Chris Kelling. Oh, you know what I'm saying. Oh dear. Nigeria started burning cell towers now. These idiots don't seem to realise that there are plenty of countries that are having a certain illness that haven't even got 5G. So that's not very bright. I do wonder how much of this damage the companies will accept, though, before they throw in the towel. They shouldn't. I'm not particularly pro or against having 5G. Personally, I'm lucky to get honestly, I'm lucky to get 3G here. I certainly can't do browsing on my phone. So little more than text messages and phone calls, if I am lucky. Here I can't. At the house I can just about make a phone call if I'm stood in the kitchen window. So 5G, it means nothing to me. It won't be coming here until everyone else is on 37G. However, it is not because of any worries about the technology, because it doesn't do any harm, because it's non-ionising. But you try and tell those derps that, and they'll just quote the Bible at you, which I had happen today. S2000 GT destroying 5G modern, sacrificing a virgin. Yeah. Well, 5G conspiratards are certainly suffering from stupid. An awful lot of stupid. I like that colon. Mr. V got confused. I've got to do it again. I hope she sees this. There we go.
No.
Love it. Absolutely love it. Now I've got to switch it back off. Oh, now I've done it again. What's wrong with that? I've got to be touching the right window for it to work. I have to switch it on and then switch it off. Otherwise, if I change screens, it automatically will play, which is a pain in the backside. But at least I can do that sort of thing now. I don't know what's happened with the stream quality. It looks bloody abysmal right now. It looked fine earlier on. So I hope you're all okay. That's pretty much the topics I wanted to cover with Derry and Oakley. So we come. Well, I've come to a unanimous decision that I'm going to put the Oakley thing over to you guys on a community poll. And as for Derry, well, I'm still thinking exactly what I'm going to do with regard to his ripping off of my video. Yes, I'd also put on there that just in case he started getting uppity, what I did to his video is allowed under fair use, or as is known in the UK, fair dealing. A stupid name. Fair use, fair dealing, in that it was commentary and critique and so on. So I was okay. Ripping off my video in its entirety is not okay. So yeah, I have no doubt at all I could win with a copyright strike, but there's other aspects that I need to bear in mind. So I'm thinking about exactly what I'm going to do. And actually, I'm just going to open up another window and look how many views he's got. It's probably so few anyway. Do I really want to bother? But let's have a quick look. Derry Francis. 193 views in 22 hours. So am I worried about that? 804 views on... Oh, I think it's that LED light one. Now it's war, thank God for the police. 2,500 views. So maybe I should. I mean, he's not monetized, so it's not as though he's gaining from it. But he's got 809 subs, so he's not far off it. I don't know what his viewing time is, but then I'm flipping contributing to his viewing time, which I'm not so happy about. Well, we'll see. I'll tell you what, while I just catch my breath, quick thanks to my wonderful patrons. With massive thanks to all my patrons, including new patrons Andy Woods, Glenn Chapman, Dark Saber, Chris Holmes, Crafty Keeler, Nal Pinion, William Schofield, Nicola Redmond, AZ Atheist, Grumpy Old Man and Hugh Jars, and my latest patrons Larry XK and Nuha Escalina. Thank you all so very much. And he's back again, and I remember to switch the mic back on. It will be a sad day, won't it, when I do a whole live stream without making a mistake. It will never happen, will it? Never happen. Ivan James Hunt, the principle of it. Yeah, I agree that I do feel quite principled about things. Martin H says, have him. Well, let me tell you why I didn't just do it in a shot. What had happened is, I think it might have been Mohammed Shafiq who was in the chat earlier. I'm not sure if you're still there, Mohammed, but had pointed out to me, in fact, I'm pretty sure it's Mohammed, pointed out to me that Derry had ripped off the video. I was in bed, and unfortunately I didn't have the earbuds I normally use, because Mrs. Sense would nick them, and I didn't know where they were, and I didn't want to wake her up. So I saw the video, and I didn't know if he'd made commentary all over the top of it. which might have been skirting it a bit, but, would have been at least an effort at debunking me or arguing against me. So I actually got out of bed. It was around midnight last night, and came down here, powered up the computer just to watch the video, and it was absolutely nothing. It was just my video. So I thought, right, let's report it. And when you're filling in a copyright strike, there's two things you have to do. You have to put in your real name and your real address, which it says may be passed to the naughty channel. But I'm not too happy about that. We know what sort of guy he is. And what would he do with that information? Now, I mean, if let's say I had ripped off Crafty Keeler's video, and she issued a strike against me, then from what they're saying, I may get her real name and address, but that would be it. I would either accept the copyright strike or argue against it. But what I wouldn't do is spread her name and address or whatever all over the internet. I can see Derry doing that, and once it's done, it's done. Steve Martin. Okay, I will keep an eye out. Email is good, mr-sensible@hotmail.com, or anyone can always DM me via my Discord. And if you've ever got suggestions for videos to debunk, also on my Discord, I've got debunk suggestion room, so you can always drop any suggestions in there. I don't always reply, but I do look through them. I use them as a suppository, as a repository of stupid to go and look at when I'm looking for a video to do. And Crafty, you're right. And brother, you're right too. And Andra, so are you. So that's why I thought, right, first of all, I'm going to contact him. Let's see. Let me just call it back up again. And I'll tell you what I put. Where is it? My video. Come on, where's my comments? Derry, you do realise that you can't just upload someone's video in its entirety. Have you not heard of copyright? You didn't even have the decency to provide a link. Link provided. You are, of course, quite welcome to cut and edit and do a response video, but just mirroring without permission is a breach of copyright. Please take it down. I am within my right to issue a copyright claim against you, which will earn you a YouTube strike. I would rather not do this, and you just take the video down. I use bits of your videos to critique them, and this is allowed under fair use / fair dealing, and gave a link to the UK law on that. What you have done is just take my video and upload it, which is illegal. Thanks, S. So, yeah, I thought I was polite, pointed out the error of his ways, and you could take that as, I'm assuming perhaps, he just didn't realise that you can't do that. So I've given him the benefit of the doubt. And at some point he replied in one of the other ones he doesn't give a monkey's, so yeah. Suppository of stupid. There you go, Ivan. Oh dear. Yeah, Mohammed, was it you? I think it was you that pointed out that Derry had ripped off my entire video. I've had a lot of other people point it out as well, including Rider of Dinosaurs, who I hadn't heard of for a little while. Yeah, Crafty, I know where you're coming from. If it was NBC who decided to rip off my video without giving me a link or whatever, yeah, I'd go for them. Because you know they're not going to do anything to abuse you with regard to your personal details. Yeah. I think that I did send a link of your YouTube, of a YouTube channel to... Sorry, 274727. Is this Derry thing? A number of people have sent me the link or put comment replies to me or drop messages in Discord, and I do appreciate the heads up, people. The one surprising thing is YouTube itself, in studio, when you have videos, it usually takes about a week though. When someone uses a bit of your video, if it's more than a few seconds, it pops up as a possible copyright issue, and you can then look at it and decide if you want to get them to take the video down. So I'm hoping that when that does pop up, since he uses 100% of my video unedited, when it does pop up, I might just be able to say take it down, because YouTube obviously know it's my video because it's nowhere else. It's just on my channel, and mine had been uploaded several days before. So I think I'll give that a chance. Hypervirtualist lives in a country where have no 5G and no viruses at all. Are you sure about that? What about influenza? Lots of viruses around. Also see the fact there's no chemtrails, but the temperatures are going up. Hypervirtualist, there's no such thing as chemtrails. There really isn't. The stuff about cloud seeding is something entirely different. I know you didn't mention cloud seeding. Yeah. Actually, I also had a thought today when I said earlier, as a joke, there's no chemtrails around. What would be interesting is, are there, if you were on a ship over the Pacific or somewhere like that in the middle of nowhere, are there chemtrails in the sky from aircraft? I suspect there are, which would be a pretty pointless place to do it. The best place to dose the chemicals to really affect people would be in the chimney stacks on factories with billowing steam and smoke and whatever, because no one likes that sort of thing, but everyone expects it, and it's near to the ground and not far from populated areas. That would be the way to do it, not spraying it at 35,000 feet from an aircraft with no guarantee of where it's going to go. Ugly German Truths. I assume you're talking about Hyper's comment when you say HPV and herpes, because it's just come out. It says, Mr. Sensible, HPV herpes. Thanks, pal. Thank you. Brixie says the entire population of the moon has the virus. That's true. That's true. Although, who was it? Apollo 13. I've forgotten his name now. He didn't go on the flight, did he? Because they thought he was going to get, was it chicken pox? Which he never did get. Voyager 2 chemtrails. Well, has anyone... Oh, let's switch. Excuse me. I tell you what, while I yawn, I haven't fixed this one. I did the patrons. But while I think of it, a quick shill out to Mr. V, who's done the artworks in the background. Comfy Clarity. I nearly had said comfy chair. Mr. Victory77 at outlook.com. You can contact him because he is flogging this stuff. I think it's absolutely beautiful, but I do like sort of abstract stuff like this. He does other stuff as well, so you'd have to contact him, see what he's got available. I don't know if he does commissions or not. That might be interesting. But there you go. He is very much... what's the word? He's told me that how pleased he is with the amount of contacts he's had from people. So please feel free to email him. Make his day. There you go, Mr. V. I still do love that stuff. I really do. When I mix the vids, because I don't know if you can see, it's quite slow. It's slowly moving across the screen, zooming in on one area and then scrolling across to another. When I've made those, it takes about the thick end of an hour to render. I end up watching it because I just find it so fascinating. It's amazing. If I zoom in, because this is low resolution. Well, certainly it is as it's appearing on YouTube right now. But it's fairly low resolution. I had to cut it down because of the size. And I said to him about how big these files were, several hundred megabytes. And he said the originals are gigabytes of data. So I can zoom in anyway quite a lot. And the detail just goes on and on. I think it's lovely. But there we go. Shield. Big Ron. Mr. Sensible, I really wonder how you experience the differences between your experience. I'm still impressed with your research on the beach. Yeah. What was the first one? About boats over the horizon. Inconclusive. Shite camera. I don't know how many people have seen that. That was an old video. I really enjoyed doing that. Yeah. Let me... actually, it might be a bit difficult for me to dig out. But have a look at one of my old videos. It's quite interesting. The style is quite different. And no doubt my level of comfort on the screen is quite different. but I did a day trip to Brighton, although I think I called it Bournemouth once in the video, with Mrs. Sensible for the day, and she appears pretty much on cam for those of you who are itching for a view of Mrs. S, to carry out flat earth research. And I ran 5 flat earth tests and scored them as to whether it indicated a flat earth or a globe earth. It was a close run thing, so I recommend you go and have a look at that. Mohammed, wish you had the equipment and software I have. Well, you might be surprised. You really might be surprised. The software I'm using for broadcasting is called Streamlabs OBS, and that's free. With my initial editing, I used to use Windows Movie Maker, which was free, and that was okay. However, now with the support of patrons, I have upgraded to much better video editing software, and that's called Filmora 9, and I love it. That was great, but it didn't make a massive. It helped me actually making the videos, but it hasn't made a massive difference to how things look and sound. This made a massive difference. Yeah, massive difference, because right now you guys are looking at me through a £15 webcam by Logitech, C720 I think it is, but it's good enough. So far, cost-wise, we're talking, what, 50, 60 quid for the editing software, £15 for the camera. This mic, let me show it a bit. This mic, I bought a shock mount so that if I knock it, you don't get horrendous noise, and it's on a boom arm, so I can place it wherever. So those are extras. Yeah, it was a reasonable amount of money, but I was producing videos without it. It's just that with it, everything sounds so much better. Then the next purchase, also funded thanks to the help of my patrons, and honestly, I totally am in awe of my patrons and really appreciate every single one of them. It was my 2 studio lights. Let me see if I can show you without blinding you. Oh, there we go. We got one there and one up there. They're by a company called Neewer, Neewer. Oh, bought them as a pair on stands that go up to about 2 meters tall, so I've got them up and out the way, and they are fantastic. They made a big difference. Actually, I'm going to go onto the full screen for a while just so I can make sure I've got the camera back in the right position. Yeah, the lighting made a big difference, and it was noticed because it didn't just light things to make it look better from a lighting point of view, but it also, please excuse me, it also improved the focus, because this camera was not good enough. So if the light was dim, if I was filming in the evening, it really was a bit grim, because all I was using is a little desk lamp. It was okay, but not brilliant, and the camera had trouble focusing, so everything would be slightly fuzzy. But now it's crisp. So let's have a quick look. Ooh, Mr. C says I only need about 100 subs to overtake Voldemort. Really? What am I on? Last I saw was 451. Yeah. What's he on? Oh, this is exciting. And anyone who doesn't know who Voldemort is, don't watch one of his live streams, or he's liable to piss in a bottle. I'll explain why this is. He's on 4.62. I'm 4.51. 110 according to that. Of course, I might be nearly 452. But yes, the reason is, quite a long time ago, when I was on about 300 to 400 subs, something like that, I had a bit of a argument with him, a flat earth type argument. That was fine, and I said, come on in, let's have a debate. And he said no. And he said no because, and he actually said this in an email, I don't want to give you the publicity. He said, I made that mistake once before, debating someone with not many subs, and look where they are now. Yeah, so because he was a larger, and to me at that time, I had 300 subs and he was on about 3,000, maybe a bit more than that. He seemed massive, a massive channel. and he wouldn't debate me. I was one of the little boys, but I'm catching him up, and I will be overtaking him soon. Every now and then I look in, what's it called? I can never remember the names of these things. Social Blade, and you can compare two channels, and you can see let's angle this right. You can see his subs going up, and you can see mine going up much steeper, and I'm going to cross over and overtake him sometime soon. Whoa, well done, Crafty. 58 subs. In what? How long? A week and a bit? Something like that? That is really good. You better start thinking about your 100 sub special, because I can tell you, it will bite you on the arse when it's suddenly there and you haven't prepped for it. There's my top tip. Who else we got? Oh, in fact, he said, I don't want to look like an arse. That's probably it, Bjorn. Never mind the subs. He just didn't want to have the debate or the argue. But I am going to enjoy rubbing it in when I do overtake him. Anyone else, it wouldn't matter. And I mean, someone like, let's say, Nathan Oakley versus Mitchell, massive difference in subs, makes no difference to me. I'd treat them both the same, and I would have treated him the same. It's only because he didn't want anything to do with someone with only so many subs that there's a certain amount of schadenfreude there. Yeah, Demon Orb, you should do an Arwen rant. I'm on 59 subs. I've been on YouTube for a year. Why haven't I got 1,000 subs? This doesn't make sense. You should do it. Do it, pal. And then send it to Arwen. I have done some thinking about my 5K special. I have a new intro filmed. Thanks to Mini Miss Sensible, my youngest, who's doing sort of film and TV at college. And she worked with me. And I let her do the processing and editing and so on. And she's produced me a very nice intro. When it comes to it, I will do, I think, a live premiere followed by a live stream straight afterwards, because it will make things a lot easier. And I do keep reminding Mrs. S that she agreed that she would appear on the 5K special. I will do my utmost to get her on that. She will be on that, whether she wants to or not. So it'd be better if she was, otherwise it might be candid photography. Well, we shall see. New intro, yeah, but that's coming in at 5K, so no one gets to see it until I reach 5K. 5K Crafty. Hello, Kiri. How are you, love? Not seen you for a while. I did see that you said you were going to pop in. Nice to see you. And Anna, Mr. Maldonado, or Miss Maldonado, I don't know. But good evening to you. Barnacle felt.
Good evening to you too.
Did you hear that? Alexa, what the hell are you on about?
Hellraiser's theme is BDSM.
What? I think she's going mad. Alexa, Simon says, no, it's not that. Forget that.
If you want me to repeat
No, shut up.
something you
Alexa,
said,
stop it. I'm going to unplug you. Alexa, what is the Welsh for Creaky Blinder 100 carats?
Creepy Blinder 100 carats. In Welsh is
Blinder creepy cant moron.
That will never get old. I don't think he was... When I pointed it out to him, he ignored me. Creaky's a good guy. Good guy. Yes, she does want to chime in, Bjorn. I don't know why. Your Alexa said the same. I don't know why, because... Well, it's been playing up a bit. When the internet connection's a bit dodgy, who knows? Alexa, set alarm 3 a.m. every day.
alarm set for every day at 3 a.m.
I like that. I'm not going to be down here, but I guess it's going to wake you lot up. Alexa, cancel alarm.
Your next 3 a.m. alarm is cancelled. Would you like to cancel this alarm for every day?
Yes.
Alarm for every day at 3 a.m. cancelled.
You can have such fun with this. But I think I'm going to have to unplug the thing because it's going to be a pain in the backside otherwise. Oh, yeah, mein Vaters Vater is mein Großvater. How about that then, Brixie, off the top of my head? I'm sort of remembering that from when I was 13 years old. Something like that. Yeah, brother, I know what you're... Brother Grief, I know what you're saying, but it's a wonderful thing. Just suddenly asking what the weather is, or one of the latest ones is to say the name, give me the news from the BBC. It's not just the news, because then you can drill down. It will tell you a topic, and you can then say, give me more, or something like that, and it tells you more. What's this? Alexa, say wristwatch. Alexa, reveal my porn history. Oh dear, mine switched off. I'm all right. Meines Vaters Vater ist mein Großvater. That is an ugly German truth, isn't it? Ugly German truths. Oh, so I don't know what the weather's going to be like tomorrow. It's pretty nice today. Oh, we got someone waiting to chat. I see we have a certain clever animal waiting in the chat. I'll give him 30 seconds so he's aware, so it's fed through to the live stream. And then I'll bring him in. I wonder what he's got to say. I think he's been on here before briefly. Let's see where the conversation goes. It's just as well, because my mind was starting to run dry. So let's drag him over. And while he's over here, I'll make sure I switch on the sound. Hello, good evening to you, Mr. Brainy Beaver.
Hello, how's it going?
Not so bad. And I managed to remember to switch on the sound so people can hear you.
Yeah, there's a lot of that going on. Don't worry. It
Yeah.
happens.
How's it going with you then, sir?
I'm okay, just stuck inside, living Groundhog Day life, like everybody else. I was calling the pet food place today, and it was ringing and ringing, fucking ringing forever. I'm like, they said they're open, regular, modified hours, but they should be open. I looked at the clock, and all of a sudden, the guy answers, and he's like, I'm like, are you guys open? He's like, well, yeah, tomorrow, but not today. I'm like, well, why not? He's like, it's Good Friday. I'm like, I guess so, huh? I was like, all I know is I woke up, made a coffee.
Wow. And what happened with me is I thought, because I keep...
I'm a little loud, tell me too. I can adjust my mic.
That's right. I'm adjusting you because it's easier for me to adjust as it comes through, and it remembers for next time anyway. And actually, it's not too. Of
course,
loud.
It could be at a different level. Sometimes I'm recording, so
yeah. Don't worry, but I adjust it when.
I watched one stream afterwards, and I was like, "Holy shit! When was somebody gonna tell me I was destroying their eardrums?" it's like I was like, I think I had it maxed out because I was doing a skit and I was standing back from my mic, so I had the mic turned way up. And of course, so when you're talking into the mic, you're sitting now 6 inches from it, having a podcast. And it's like, so how's everybody? Like, what it is, just reverbing because it's all bass.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of people saying hello to you in the side chat. I don't know if you can see the side chat where you are.
I do see that.
Yeah, it's
hello.
nice.
Yeah, a lot of the people I recognize. Chris, hello. I see Ugly German Truth. And
everyone sees Ugly German Truth, so
Kiri.
He's everywhere.
I did release, if anybody in here hasn't seen my new video that just released on my channel only... I don't know, 2 hours ago. It's probably one of the best videos I've ever produced, and I mean that sincerely. So if you like laughing at stupid, there's not a lot of science to be had there. There's a lot of skits. So
I mean, well. not that you'd want to shill yourself or anything.
Not that I want to. No, I'm all over that video now. I haven't even used the beaver avatar in 2 videos now. Not that I like my beaver avatar.
I mean, you're not backward in shilling your video to us.
Oh,
check out my video. It's absolutely fine.
Hey, listen, I'm on here. I got to do it.
Absolutely. And if you hadn't, I'd have asked you. Well, I was going to ask you anyway. What else you've been doing lately? So, is there anything?
I see your cheese. I wanted to ask you how that cheese is doing. Can you smell that cheese through the glass, or is it's slowly creeping in from the edge?
I know it's getting. Black. This camera's got adjusted
Did they cut a hole out of the center to make the? I can't remember what its original form was.
Its original form is a slice of processed cheese, and I
Yeah.
cut the play button out of it, just like the YouTube play button.
But I can't see it from here. Has it like melted?
Okay, I guess it's time for an update. Give us a second.
Because it looks like it's freaking melted across the play section. I don't see white at all.
Right, sorry, I was off.
No, it's all
headset.
good. All I said is I don't see white at all. I feels like it looks like from back here it looks like it's melted across the white play button.
Well, here you go then. It'll take a while for it to get through.
Yeah, I'm a little behind you. I'll
Yeah.
get it in a second.
Oh yes, it's a masterpiece. I'm sure everyone's itching to have a piece of this.
It comes. Hey, like you're walking over to get it right now.
Oh.
You're off mic.
Oh dear,
Here we go. Oh no.
it's like
yeah.
time travel.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? It's
it's-
kind of crazy.
So it's pretty.
You have to put a delay in though. That way, if something goes ass tits on during your stream, you can kill the feed.
That's true. But as you can see, if it's come up
Ah,
on
it
screen,
did melt across it. See?
yeah. See, the play button has gone totally yellow, and the black bit at the top is slowly growing.
Did you leave it in its plastic, or is it just smushed in there?
No, it's left in its plastic. Basically, I unwrapped
Oh,
it,
good,
unwrapped it, cut out the play button, and rewrapped it, and then put it under glass. Mrs. Sensible is not that pleased about it.
It doesn't look like it. It's scary. I mean, that one at the top though hasn't been going as fast as I thought it was gonna.
What, the black bit?
Yeah, the black bit at the top. I thought that's been there for a long time.
It
hasn't
has, it
I
has.
thought that was
I'm-
going to progress a lot quicker than that.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually applied for its own channel on YouTube.
Mr. Sensible's moldy cheese.
Yeah, the problem is it's nearly got as many subs as I have.
We've
But-
got this public health nurse that wears this scarf or whatever every day, where she gives her different numbers announcements and stuff. And she, there's now a Twitter page or whatever her name is, like Mrs. Whatever Scarf or something like that. You know how it goes. People make fan Twitter accounts.
But you know, that was 1,000 subs. What would be interesting? I'm going to delve back in my channel and find out what date that went up on video. The cheese was there a little earlier because obviously I had that already. But it'd be interesting. Come on, people, predict a date. No cheating. Predict a date. How long's
You
that
trying
been?
to beat Planner Walk's paper, lined paper, or was it a piece of white paper? Either way, he's got that fold. He's got that fold. Just now 1,000 subs. He's got a little play button folded up on his like I think it's on his keyboard in the background or something.
I have seen his paper 1,000 sub thing, but
Yeah.
I didn't know anything about what he's doing with it other than it's sort of at the back. I never really
Well, yeah,
paid
it's
much
part of the
attention to.
fun, right?
Right, 1,000 sub special was. Let's get the date. I presume it will give me the date. Do you want 6th of September? So that's not bad actually. 6th of September till 10th of April, and I've put on nearly another 4,000 subs. Wow, thank you, people. So yeah, so how old's that?
Faster growth than me.
Yeah, but the thing is, the cheese is growing faster than any of us.
Yeah, well, that's true.
It's actually straining the glass. We're going to find out how much glass can bend before it shatters. I should have used
Actually
some.
pushing the glass out.
No, not really. But yeah,
Don't worry, I believed it though. I
Yeah,
coulda,
you did,
never know,
you
'cause, I
did.
mean,
But-
I think biological growths would probably have a lot more pressure strength than you'd believe.
it would be more likely to start pushing the back out, I suppose. But I know that at the tail end of last year, while it was still warm, this room gets up to about 38 in the sun, if I'm not here, so no aircon's on and the door's shut. It did start to smell a little. I'm just hoping that
You just need to take silicone caulking and just caulk that bitch shut. Like, just go along the edges of it and seal it up. Take some crystal clear stuff and just press it in the corners and put a nice seal on it.
yeah, it will need to be some heavyweight, like what was it, Plumbrook with their vacuum chamber. I think I'll need 6 foot of concrete round it just to
What about
really
that
make
guy
sure.
that you can just spray the screen with that rubber spray and float a boat with it? Remember? You've seen that ad, right? Or do you know what I'm talking about? This is probably an American ad.
It must be an
That's
American.
what is it? It's that rubber spray in a can. It's like a really cheap way of trying to like fix like roof leaks and stuff like
Oh,
that. It's
okay.
like spray paint rubber. And in the ad, it's one of those, you have to see it. After we're done, go check it out. But the guy basically spray paints a screen, like they install a screen door on the bottom of a boat, and he paints it with this rubber spray, the screen,
Yeah.
and then they push the boat in the water later and like float around in it.
And it works.
Well, hold on. It's a 1-800 ad. Like, I mean, the product, you can buy it in the store. I have some. It works for what it works for. I wouldn't, I don't know. All I know is it's also solvent. So, like, for instance, you can't spray foam with it because it literally dissolves.
Melts it, yeah.
So you go to cover certain products with it, and it just goes, it just like pours a hole through the center of it. And you're like, what the fuck? It's sorry language.
Kiri Max said 1K to 4.5. Yeah. And TGK2K says May 2019. No, not May. It was September the 6th.
Yeah.
Was my 1K special. Yeah. So I guess I actually ticked over just a few days before that.
Well, I have to tell you something that I get to boil your balls with as of just today.
What's that then?
I got my memberships. I have not turned the button on yet because I literally just discovered I have it, but I actually do now have the option for turning on memberships. So I'm trying to figure out perks and
whereabouts is that so I can check.
If you get it, you just in your studio just hit monetization and it'll show up like you have.
Let me go into that
tab at the top. There's overview and then it'll have like
monetization. Yeah,
and you've got video advertising and supers, right?
Yeah, I've got memberships. I didn't know.
Yeah, there you go. So there you go. See, that's what I said. Like I check this every week. I just got these. Okay, so like I know 1 week ago when I went into this tab, I did not have that.
No,
so there you go. So now you go in there, you take some setup, and they let you save your progress, so you can start setting up your perks and save your progress and come back, and because they admit right on the little video they show you in there that it's going to take a bit of time, but there you go. You can now turn on memberships. They have to approve your perks and all that shit.
Yeah, well, so I remember when Creaky started his, I said, what's that? And he said, I don't know. They just gave it to me, and I didn't know. I thought they'd contact you via email or something.
Well, somebody said they got an email, but honestly, they just give it out. It's okay. So the way it does it is the AI just determines. There's two things. You used to have to hit 30,000 subscribers.
That's right. Yeah,
and then
it changed.
They lowered it to 10 recently, but there's always an asterisk in there that clearly, and we've all known this, they will not admit to it if you ask them, like even in the support, if you email them like through your YouTube support, they won't admit to it because I pressed them on at one point and they still kept giving me the company line. But basically the AI also will determine which channels are deserving of it, and it's based on a few things. Obviously, subscriber count, you need to be monetized, a few things like that. But basically, what we think that we keyed onto is that what we noticed is the people that were getting memberships the fastest, because it's all over the map. Like Team Skeptic at 8K, Fight didn't get it until 21. That was just recently in the last, in November or something. He finally got it, or October or something.
And I've got it at 4.5.
Well, yeah, and I got it at 3.5, and Geek Room got it at 2.5, and AT2 got it at 1.1, and so it's kind of all over the map. And what I started noticing, and I talked to a few others, and they kind of thought maybe that we were onto something, is that all the channels that were getting it were very consistent in their posting. Like Team Skeptic didn't get it till 8, but he doesn't have a defined, well, at the time anyways, he didn't have a defined streaming schedule.
Right.
So he didn't get it till 8, and he got it, but then either way, all I notice is that I never post religiously. Like I never had you could guarantee I was going to stream that week, which also affects the amount of people that show up to my streams because they can never rely on me being there. So I decided 5-6 weeks ago that I wanted to start making sure I was always streaming once a week, no matter what. And I did that. And then boom, 5 weeks later, I get memberships.
Well, I stream usually at least once and maybe twice a week. And basically, apart from the time when I was off around the time of my daughter's wedding and I had some other people provide takeover vids, I've been pumping out 5 outputs a week. It's either 3 or 4 videos and 1 or 2 streams. So 5 days a week since I started. So obviously do something. But Colon has just said, with regard to, I don't know if you heard the conversation about Sleeping Warrior not wanting to debate me at the time because I had sort of 300 subs and he had sort of 3,500 or whatever. As Colon's pointed out, I've now got memberships and he hasn't. So people out there, let me know. Do you want me to get this set up? Do you want to do memberships? Please let me know. I know nothing about it. I'm going to have to find out about it. I'm rather interested and excited about that.
Well, it's a huge opportunity because especially, I mean, I don't know that you monetize a lot. I get demonetized a lot, which the AI has started getting a little better. And one thing that I did not notice when I uploaded my video last night, and I watched a video from, was it vidIQ today, and they showed, now they had been talking about self-certification. That's where you go through and you check a bunch of boxes, like, does it have hard language? Like, they give you some check boxes to check where you can tell them what's in the content.
Yes.
And they will use that as you telling them, yes, it does have this, or no, it doesn't, and they want you to be honest. Even if it means you get a yellow, you can still ask for a manual review to see if it's not, you know, enough of a problem that they can pass it. But either way, the idea is that if the AI starts trusting you, if you can start telling it what's in your video,
that's
and you
right.
start forming a trust level, it'll start just giving you the green when you say this should be green.
Yeah. Well, I noticed yesterday that a video was demonetized, but I wasn't really surprised, and I just requested a review, and then I saw about 6 videos. They've obviously done a splurge through my channel, and about 6 videos going back months suddenly, you know, yesterday.
No, I had the same thing happen.
Yeah.
I had that happen about a month ago. They started all of a sudden, a bunch of my old live streams that have been green for a while, all of a sudden just went yellow, and stuff like that. But that's because they set the AI on kill. So if you believe it's made a mistake, then just hit review. I mean,
and I have been, and within 24 hours, half of them are back, and others are still being reviewed. So I have no issues. I actually thought,
and the one I did last night, I'm pretty sure it auto did. Like, I think it tripped first, like, because it tripped within minutes of me uploading it. But there's gunshots. You'd have to see the video. There's gunshot sound effects. There's all kinds of skits in there.
Well,
so
I've
the
never
AI didn't know what the hell to read. You know,
Brady, I've never seen this before. This live stream has been ad limited. Why?
Well, yeah, you're already demonetized because it just doesn't. See, the problem with
I've never had that happen while I'm live. It usually waits until you just finished.
Oh no, it'll happen while you're live. If you say titties too many times, it'll switch.
Well, don't say it. Don't. No.
You know what I'm saying? If you won't, if you hit for review, you'll never be demonetized for saying it once or twice. It's looking for egregious content. Honestly, my review, my success rating, the only video I didn't ask for a review on was a Corona video, which I just did. I just was like, wow, we visited hospitals and stuff. Like, we'll just leave it there. But they've laid off that even a little bit. But all I was going to say is that typically speaking, as long as you're not hitting on certain really bad subjects that they're not a big fan of, they tend to they tend to be okay. I mean, it's not as bad. It's just that you have to wait for the freaking review, and then in the meanwhile, your video is not being pushed. Super chat. Like you'll I don't know if you've noticed. Have you ever released a video that's yellow?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I've had videos. I've had some that I know. I mean, my very first video was the Hitler bunker scene from the film Downfall. That it's a real meme with people changing the translation captions at the bottom. My very first video, which is still there, and I did re-release it sometime later, is a flat Earth version of Hitler in a bunker moaning about his P9000.
I remember when you got that's right.
Now that I have not earned a single penny from. Obviously, I wasn't monetized then anyway, but that's not monetizable. It's copyright, and any ads go to the film, and that's fine. Yeah, but I think, well, that's fair enough. I have no issue with that at all. So I have had a couple, and there was one I had with some strange woman at one of these evangelical churches, convinced that she'd been giving oral sex.
But I'm not talking about claimed. I'm talking about yellow ad limited like that.
Yeah, I've got a few like that. But actually,
because all I was going to say is
I need to. Brady, I need to interrupt you because of this super chat that's come in.
Yeah, you go ahead. Yeah, I saw
it. From Digital Demonic Davros, who super chatted $2 Australian. # not a beaver. Quiet boy. Thanks for that.
Not a quiet boy.
Thanks for that, Davros.
All I was going to say is that you will notice if you release a video that is so like when you upload it, Now you've got the self-certification, which I didn't notice that tab. I guess as soon as you hit yes, monetize it, it shows up as an extra step in there, which I guess I just went past.
Yeah.
Or maybe it didn't give it to me. Apparently not everybody gets it yet. But anyways, if you do hit monetize and it demonetizes it and you release it like that, so I don't know about you, but you typically upload them as unlisted, and then it'll review it, and then if it gets demonetized that way, you can ask for a review before it gets listed on the channel.
Typically I upload them either straight to a Premiere, but more likely straight to a schedule. Now, if my schedule's 2 or 3 days in advance, then that can happen. But
you typically don't get demonetized, do you?
I typically don't get demonetized, no.
Okay, so this is the thing. Like, I get demonetized 90% of the time.
Yeah,
so the thing is, and a lot of other people, we upload unlisted, you wait for the review, and then, but all I was going to say is if you release that video yellow, here's the thing.
Yeah.
I've waited a week before for a review. I've waited 3 hours as well, but I've waited a week before for a review on a video.
Yeah.
So the problem is that a lot of times, like if I haven't had a video out enough and I need to get some motion on my channel because it's kind of stagnating, I'll just dump it. Even if it's yellow, I'll just put it out because I need to get movement on the channel. But I'm going to tell you right now, if I release a video that is yellow when I hit schedule and I tell it to upload it to my channel and like tell people, it will tell a fraction of the people that it would have told. Even my subscribers, even the ones that have hit the bell. Well, it will tell a fraction of them compared to if it's green.
I don't know how your channel's been lately, but mine for notifications over a period of about 2 weeks was absolutely abysmal. Masses of my people were not getting notifications. Mrs. Sensible didn't get a notification of something I did until the next day, and my views plummeted. Not just on one video. One video could be a bad video or topic not interested.
But this is separate. But this is separate of that, though. But they were having a problem, they admitted, by the way.
But every video for nearly a fortnight was down to about a third of its views. It's absolutely abysmal. People just not getting notified. It's funny
you mentioned that, too, because if I look right now at my live streams, it's because my Nathan Thompson video did okay, which was a while. It was 4 weeks ago, which is way too long between videos. But you're right. My streams... normally I was getting, a live stream, I get 1,400, 12, 13, 18, 1,600 views, 1,700 views, and then all of a sudden 700, 600, 500.
Yeah, exactly.
Like literally like 800. Like all of a sudden my views dropped in half on my videos all of a sudden.
Yeah. And it's heartbreaking, isn't it? And of course YouTube have admitted that they don't send notifications out to everyone who has asked for notifications. I don't understand
but honestly,
the logic.
But if you have a video, I'm just telling you right now, we have noticed one of us. So here's the thing: if I have a video that needs a review and I send it out, it will actually get reviewed way quicker than if I wait. Because what happens is the AI determines all this. I get enough views, and you do too, and most of us in this part of the community at this level get enough views that the AI sees the views pour in and goes, "Oh, this video is actually going to make a couple dollars, even if it's $5. It's going to make more than a nothing video."
Yeah.
So it pushes it to the queue quicker because it's like we're missing out on money. So it puts it in line and gets it in the conga line of videos to get reviewed. So it gets reviewed that day if I release it. Well, all I was going to say is my overall content hit will be down by probably as much as 50% on that video versus if I waited for it to be green before I hit schedule.
Well, here's a question for you. I don't know if you can answer this. I put out a video and YouTube decided to limit it, make it yellow. Okay. So some of that ad revenue is not coming to me. Now, if I then ask for a review, and let's say it takes 24, 48 hours, and then they say, okay, Mr. Sensible, that's fine. You can get all the revenue. What happens?
Well, that's not what's happening with yellow.
Yeah. Well, what happens?
I know what you're about to ask. You're saying what happens to the other money.
Well, yeah. While it's held.
The way you asked it.
Yeah.
But it's not. That's not what's happening with yellow. You're not understanding what the yellow is.
Well, there's less adverts.
You're getting. No. But you only get paid for adverts. So if you get less adverts, you're just not getting paid. There's no other money. Nobody watched ads. There's just no money to give you. So they didn't make money. You didn't make money. Nobody made money.
So it's in their interest it's in their interest as well to review it quickly and see if it is.
Yes, especially if they've even admitted that if your video hits 1,000 views, it will trigger the AI to send it to one of their reviewers faster because they haven't said this part, but let's face it, they're missing out on money. They get paid for views, and if you're getting views, they want to get the money. Even if it's $3, $3 over 1 million channels is $3 million.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
So they want that money.
Again, since we talk about this stuff, Kiri has asked how much of a song or film clip can you use in a YouTube vid before it gets copyright stricken? Anyone know? I don't know, but I try and keep it as short as possible.
Well, I actually have some numbers you could use.
Ooh.
There's no actual rule. You could use 1 second of it, and if they decide to sue you, they can sue you because it's their content, and they would have to prove that you don't have the right to use it as fair use. You would then have to prove that you do have the right to use it in fair use. And let's face it, if you're only getting, tens of thousands of views on a video and you've got a 1 second clip in there, they're not going to give a shit enough to try to sue you. So it's always a gain versus loss thing. But but the AI will not auto trigger anything under 9 seconds anymore.
No.
So if you have a clip that is 5 seconds long and it's Disney music, Disney will not be auto triggered. However, like I think I used 9.5 seconds of Pocahontas and got claimed by Disney.
Yeah. Well,
so I reduced it to 5.5 seconds of Pocahontas and I was fine. But what I was going to say is at 5.5 seconds, if a Disney exec came along, they could still manually claim that content. But what they changed is that they can't make any money off of a clip that small anymore. What happens is they can block the content or make it so there's I think they can delete it, block it. They can do a few things, but they cannot monetize it because what they were doing is they were paying people like stay at work from home jobs. They were paying them to crawl the YouTube and find like a car going by and a guy vlogging. Like think Casey Neistat vlogging and somebody goes by playing copyright music. And all of a sudden they claim that clip on behalf of Sony Music. And then Sony Music makes the $50 or $100 or $200 or $5 or $1 or 30 cents. But either way, that's how they were making a bunch of money is they were claiming every single little thing. And so they would make all that money. So now what they did is they took away the monetary gain for them to be claiming little clips like that. Yeah. And so now there's no reason to pay a person. Yeah, there's no reason to pay a person to crawl their website anymore to look for these.
I did a video some time ago. It was actually a Barnabas Nagy debunk. And in there, he'd used quite a bit. He didn't care because I don't think he was monetized, but he used quite a bit from that film, They Live. And so because I was debunking, I had clips of that in. And the copyright owners claimed copyright. And so I actually rejected their claim and said it was fair use. I've only used about 30 seconds of it and it was cut and it was talked about and whatever. And they then turned around and said, okay, fair enough, which I thought was decent.
Actually, I found out that I was really leery of countering copyright claims. But you still have to weigh your options because let's face it, if they turned around and wanted to try to get legal, they technically could. So, it could turn into a situation where they come back at you and you have to back down still.
Yeah, exactly. If they had said, no, we still want it, there's nothing else I could do. I can't take them to court. I can't afford to take them to court, and it wouldn't be worth taking them to court. But
the shills were hitting History Channel. That's when I got a little bit more brazen because they would toss it back at the History Channel, and they would pass, like they would say no fair use, and then they would just let it go.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, I'm actually surprised the History Channel would let whoever runs the History Channel part of their monetization would allow that. But then I started getting claimed. I used a song that is definitely fair use because it's free, like it's been given out by the author to use. And that was the song at the beginning of my intros to my live streams that was playing with the platypus in the background.
Yeah.
And I got one video got claimed on it by this Plusquam Records or something. And I was an old stream, so I cut that chunk out. But then like 3 weeks later, I got another stream got claimed. And they're claiming, this entire section of the video. But I'm like, well, but I can literally go to the owner of this music's page and he even says there's somebody claiming my music illegally. So I did my research. I found out where Plusquam Records was from. I did everything. And I formed a little case and I fired it back at them and said, no, this is fraudulent use of the DMCA system.
Yep.
And I said, if you push this, I said, I will literally take this higher. I said, because I have all the evidence to show that this song is a free song that Plusquam Records included on an album at one point with a whole bunch of other free songs. And apparently they're claiming ownership now.
Yeah, I did hear of someone else who's had a channel where he put his music up that he had written. And then sometime later, there was a copyright claim against him by someone who had ripped off his channel and then basically claimed it against him. They didn't
Oh yeah,
win.
they can do
but that's,
that. They
that's
can do it
disgusting.
if they monetize. Yeah,
So
and YouTube's
once-
really slow to get to that shit.
Yeah, of
That's all I was
course.
gonna say.
I've just got to grab Arnold. He wants to come in. You have the con.
I have the con. Okay, I'm good at conning. It's a problem where they. I mean, I don't know how you got some balls of steel, boy, but yeah, they'll take your content, put it on a channel. I don't know how they monetize. They'd have to be a monetizable channel.
I don't
And
know
then
if you realise that, but you were just talking to yourself there. I'd gone off.
Oh yeah, I was talking to them.
That's okay. That's okay. I
Where'd your
hope.
audience go?
I hope you haven't demonetised my channel in the meantime. But Arnold's
I was just
joined us.
yelling absolute slander the entire
yeah.
time. You didn't hear me start with the N word as you rolled
No,
out. You just heard
no. Oh, can you imagine though? Yeah, I'd have to be careful. There's certain people, like say, Right the Hand. If he was on here at the time, I would not have stepped away from the mic for a second. Yeah, Arnold. He's a good boy. Anyway, yeah, there's Arnold. Oh, he's got lots of hi Arnolds. Do you know what? He's got nearly many subscribers as I have.
I have a cat over here.
Okay.
She was in heat a few days ago because I didn't get her spayed before all the vets shut down.
Oh man. Yeah.
So I'm just listening. I'm like, shut up, go away.
Hello, Glober Mommy. Good evening to you, Arthur. Arthur
I
Fuchs.
didn't realize cats went into heat every 3 weeks like that. That's crazy. It's like, well, you were just doing this.
You want to do it again?
Crazy.
Wow.
But yeah, no, it's we didn't own a cat before. We're not really cat people. We weren't really. I mean, they're wonderful, but you know what? We weren't cat people. But one of the neighbors moved in the winter
Super
and
chat.
they left their cat behind
Excellent.
clearly, and it was outside. All of a sudden, it was like negative 30 something Celsius, and oh yeah, it was effing cold outside one night. And I think when I went by and we didn't know they'd moved yet, and the cat was outside the door just meowing. Like, meow, just sitting outside the door, and the lights were all off, and I just thought it was late. And the cat was always outside, so I thought, well, I just got stuck outside for the night. But then all of a sudden, it was like 3 nights later, and it was cold as F again, and I had gone to get the mail. Well, that's what it was. I had to send something, and I forgot to, and it was 2 a.m, so it didn't even matter. I'm like, I have to go drop this in the mailbox, so it's gone tomorrow. And I drove to the mailbox, dropped it off, and when I came back, it's 2 a.m, and there's the cat meowing outside the door. So then,
Cats are
I'm like,
amazing.
oh my God, I think cat's abandoned out there. So next thing you know, we started putting water out, till it froze. And we recycled the water as it was freezing to try to give it some liquids. But of course, it would run away. And we were putting food out, and we ended up putting a box together. And so it started coming closer and closer to our house. And then eventually, we just opened the door. And you wanna try coming in here?
And now you've got a new owner. And Crafty.
Yeah, it's a beautiful cat. It's a beautiful cat.
And Crafty,
you're right, they are owners.
Crafty Keeler's just super chatted €5.
I'll stop talking so much. Sorry.
That's
I'm
okay.
chatty. You've had me. I've all. lost
I
the
know
ball.
you're chatty. I know you're chatty. I'm actually going to. What we'll have to do? We'll have to give you a let me try this. See if I get it right. There you go. There's a countdown for you. You're not allowed to talk at least until that reaches 1.
Sure. I'm gonna get it in like
Yeah,
20
you got
seconds.
the delay. You got the delay. It's my new toy. Well, it's not my new toy.
Okay, well when I see the timer, I'll stop. How's that sound?
That sounds good. That sounds good. There you go.
No, here it comes. Wait, 5 more seconds, I think.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
go ahead.
Crafty
I'll start
Keeler.
early.
Crafty Keeler super chatted €5 saying Arnold needs some new toys and a smiley face. Keeler, Arnie says thanks. And I do too. Thank you. Thank you. Ugly German Truce asked me something. He asked, when am I going to do the next cheese-based debunk? Well, funny you should say that. It's not a firm plan, but I've been looking at doing perspective and Oakley's angle of attack thing. Now, I know he hasn't really mentioned that much lately, but I've been thinking on that with cheese. But we shall see. It's on the back burner. On toast. I don't know if you've seen any of my cheese debunks, Brainy.
I don't know if I have.
It started off when I did Riley and his relative density disequilibrium crap. So what I did was I made a balance, and at each end of the balance I put an exact same amount of grated cheese. I don't know, 100 grams or whatever. And they balance, of course, but they're the same density. So then what I did was I absolutely crushed one of the bags, made the cheese into one solid dense lump, And what do you think happened when I put it back on the balance? They still balanced.
Still there, of
Yeah.
course.
So what about this relative density crap, Mr. Anthony Riley? And he said, well, but they've got the same weight. Yeah. And that's because of gravity. Schmuck. What an idiot that guy is, eh? Who do you tend to attack then, Brady?
I don't know. It's been Nathan Thompson lately because he's flavor of the week. Let's face it. But I don't know. I find CC boring, although I managed to make a pretty fun video around him this time. But I don't know. Like, I used to kind of. I'm not done with scientific debunks, but at the same time, like, there's really no science to. It's all been done.
It has indeed.
All we're doing is talking about the same things. I mean, how do we do? We just got to rephrase the same, explaining to Mr. Thrive and Survive why the moon angle is wrong because he's got the wrong goddamn viewing angle. Like, I mean, how many times do we really need to do that to him before we just start making fun of him? And that's kind of where I started evolving into what I'm kind of the skits I've been kind of doing and stuff because it just became more fun for me and more entertaining for me to just take the piss out of them.
Yeah,
and that's all they're really worth.
That's true. I mean, there are channels that are just heavy on the science, and that's fine. That's not me. Creaky seems to be more, let's just have a bit of a laugh and a giggle and point out the stupid. And then you get other people who are the pure science. I try to put myself somewhere in the middle. So some basic. I mean, I'm not a scientist. I'm not highly qualified in physics and whatever, but I can read and I can understand, and so I use it to the level that I understand, and use that to smash them, and that's enough, because their thoughts are ridiculous. When it comes to heat
transfer, that's where my expertise would be because of refrigeration. I'm commercial industrial refrigeration, so I've done pages of math.
Well,
pages and pages of math.
Well, here's one for you. Have you seen Anthony Riley's latest cold moonlight experiment?
Well, yeah, but cold moonlight always makes me laugh because anybody who knows anything about the fundamentals of energy knows that just doesn't work like that. Like, you can't. There's no cold energy. It doesn't exist. But there's no negative force.
Exactly. That's why I'm saying that could be interesting if that's your speciality.
I've done a moonlight video.
Yes, but have you seen his latest one though, with 3 circles?
Probably not. Is it brand new? I'll have to go.
Oh yes, I think it was out yesterday. Basically, I think he's got a shoebox cardboard lid to cause shade, and in that cardboard lid, he made 3 holes in a triangle, and then he used his infrared camera temperature sensor thing to measure the shade, and you could see the 3 lit up dots that were where the moonlight shone through, and apparently I think off the top of my head they were a degree cooler than the surrounding shade. So that was interesting. Have a look at it, because you may do better to come up with an explanation. I've not really had any time to even think about it, but if he's someone you're not prodded for a while, that could be right up your street if you understand all about the energy the transfer and what's the word. Oh gosh.
But the problem is that the laser beam. So he's shooting the laser beam through the hole.
No. He's the cardboard is stood off from. In fact, I think it was a sheet of steel checker plate painted black. So that was shaded, and there were 3 holes in the cardboard. So there were 3 lit circles on the metal. So if the shaded area was one temperature, the lit circles were slightly cooler.
I'd have to see the experiment.
I think you would.
The thing is, you know what I mean. I mean, I'm sure you understand the reason that there. See, this is the part. I mean, I'll just do it in a nutshell. This is the part when I have an apprentice that you have to slam into their head. It's really hard. You almost tear down a lot of people's understanding of heat and cool, and kind of rebuild them up again, like start the brick wall from the base again, just to kind of give them a better base. Because, what you have to explain to people is that there is no such thing as cold. This idea of cold is an illusion. It doesn't exist.
It's just less heat.
Yeah, it's absence of energy. Everything's an energy form, and yeah, in that case, we're talking about thermal energy, which is heat energy. But yes, it's just less heat. You either have you have no energy, which is 0 Kelvin, which is why it starts because like this Celsius and Fahrenheit bullshit. This is not the actual measurement. We're using a nice, convenient measuring system that is based around typical human perceived temperatures. But when we're talking about real temperatures, for anybody out there who needs a quick crash course, you have 0 Kelvin, and that's absolute zero. So it's actually negative 273 degrees Celsius. And that is the absolute coldest temperature there can be in the universe. And it is theoretical only because they can only get within a degree or two of it. And the reason is because no matter what, you can never make a container and sense the temperature within it that does not have energy in it that is producing heat. Because even the act of sending a small charge through a sensor just to listen to the temperature inside that is enough energy to make it so you cannot get down to that temperature. So they've just mathematically determined that based on the progression of the temperature down and other factors that they only expect it can get within another 1 or 2 degrees. But I can tell you one thing, the actual physics of our universe starts to break down at that temperature because it's almost impossible. And the reason is because think about what an atom is. Well, what makes, Mr. Sensible, what makes iron iron? Like what makes an iron atom an iron atom? What makes it different from a helium atom or a hydrogen atom?
The number of this is difficult for me,
proton,
but the number
protons and neutrons, electrons, all that stuff, right? Yeah. So what I'm getting at here though is okay, and what keeps that atom being an atom is the fact that there are electrons that are vibrating around it so fast, and they do this. You know, we've designed these pretty little pictures that show them helixing around or whatever. But the bottom line is that that's what makes that atom an atom is the fact that this stuff is always moving, it's orbiting and stuff. Well, when you get to the colder something gets, the slower the molecules move. And if you absolutely freeze something to absolute zero, you actually stop all molecular motion, at which point matter starts to become not matter anymore. You see what I mean?
Yes, I see exactly what you mean, but I wonder at that point, is everything the same? Is then iron the same as helium, the same as...
That's where my understanding, I'd have to do a bit more research, starts to break down. But I do know that they have, when they start getting within a degree or two of absolute zero, they start having very, very screwed up things happening.
But that's always the same when you get to the boundaries.
Passing through materials they suspect and yeah, exactly. Like materials start going through other materials, and very unusual things start happening on a molecular level as all these materials start slowing to the point where their molecules almost stop. So it stops being part of our universe almost, because that's not how our universe works at that point, because everything has a bit of energy.
Well, Mr. Bjorn Kamitz has just super chatted 200 Swedish krona. Thank you. Saying, Mr. S, it's always a pleasure to hang out with you and the awesome community you gathered. Thank you, Bjorn. I think you're absolutely right. Everyone here is awesome. The patrons, the people who've come here the first time, those who are posting, my guests. Really enjoy it, and you're right, they are awesome. Thank you for that very much. Yeah, Brainy, have you ever read a book called... I'm pushing Greg Bear again. There's a book called Heads. Have you ever read that?
I won't lie, I haven't read a ton of books in my life,
no, okay.
Other than the educational ones I was required to read. I'm definitely more of a... I have read an absolute history of absolutely everything. I think it was a John Hawking thing.
Okay. Well, in this book...
Or John Hawking, what am I thinking?
Stephen Hawking.
John, I just picked a random name, like, Philip Hawking over there, man. Anyways.
But in this book, they're actually trying to get to absolute zero, and they've got some sort of ice pit on the moon, and heat pumps dumping the heat out, and getting it closer and closer to zero, and then funny things start to happen. So maybe that's something that's down your avenue. But I would recommend then that you look at the Riley video, because I must admit, his egg experiment was just bloody stupid. But this one, the experiment might not be done very well. There might be all sorts of variables he's not allowed for. But he's made more of an effort in designing this experiment. I will give him credit for that. And I only watched it briefly once last night, so I've not had much chance to thoroughly think it and see if I can think of an explanation. But maybe you can straight away. Certainly, people in the chat, in the comments, seem to be a bit more interested in this one, so it could be worth it for you.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Just off the top of my head, I'm imagining Bland. It's a little harder to explain, but I mean, surely there's going to be a flaw in his system somewhere. But it's going to be hard to determine that from a video point.
Well, yes, but the basic theory behind his experiment is you have a shaded area, and the board that's causing the shade has a hole in it, so the moonlight's actually shining through. So most of your target board is in shade, just with one little lit area, and apparently that lit area was cooler than the shaded area. That's it in a nutshell. But it was quite interesting.
I mean, the only other thing you gotta think of too is that, I mean, the problem with that is that, you get an airflow through that hole, for instance.
True, yes, but I think
and depending on it'd be hard to see, but depending on which way the air was moving, you might get a cooling effect because the air could create a chimneying, like where either down or up, depending.
Well, it looked as though the whole apparatus was at about 45 degrees, and the distance between the two boards, I don't know, was probably about 12 inches. So there was plenty of free air movement around the whole thing, so it wasn't enclosed or anything like that. I know what you're saying.
But you know what I mean? Like, if you sense a spot, like let's say, for instance, the spot where the moonlight's hitting, let's say that there's let's pretend there's a column of cold air that is just a small one, obviously, it's a little hole, but let's pretend there's a column of cold air that is falling through that hole directly onto that lit circle.
Yeah.
And so now you have you're here you go and you measure the spill point where the air is drop, because remember, cold air drops too.
Absolutely.
So the cold air is going to want to drop straight down through that hole. If you imagine it, like think of it, as a, try to think of it as a different substance where you could see it. You're going to have a column of cold that's going to come straight down out of that hole, hitting the bottom and spilling out. Well, when it hits the ground, it's going to be cooling that ground, and that ground will probably be warmer than the air around it. So as that air hits the ground and starts spilling outwards from the center point, it's actually going to be warming up, even just a degree. So I mean, if you measure the outside, I mean, really, it could be as simple as that. Well,
Brixie is.
What would be interesting is put a piece of saran wrap over that hole, for instance, and see if that happens.
Well, Brixie has said the area under the hole has less thermal insulation. That sort of thing could be, but we're talking about an apparatus that was. I'm trying to show it on camera. I can't see. Where are we? So you've got one board like that and the other board like this. So I can't see that it's just thermal insulation. I mean, it could be reflective heat, but it was very definite, or appeared to be very definite. You had these 3 lit spots, and the 3 lit spots appeared to be cooler. Someone said, what, credit for believing in cold moonlight? No, I'm not giving him credit for believing in cold moonlight. I'm giving him credit for trying to design a more reasonable experiment than his last experiment. It was certainly more interesting. It would make you think a bit more and to try and come up with that explanation.
So he's on an angle? It's not a straight up and down thing?
No,
it's on an angle like that?
so that it was aimed at the moon. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, I'd have to go look at it. I'm definitely intrigued. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I mean, the problem is that and the thing is, he thinks that people like me believe this because we're told to believe in it. But the reality is that my job is dealing with removing energy from one place and depositing into another. That is literally my career.
Yeah, sorry, was it refrigeration or aircon?
Yeah,
or something?
refrigeration. Well, it includes air conditioning, heating, everything. But my license is commercial industrial refrigeration. So it's not like a residential air conditioning guy. Like I can work on factories, on ammonia plants. I could build ice rinks. I haven't, but I've been trained to.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying. And so like my literal career is like, screw compressors, taking apart screw compressors that cool entire malls and stuff. So like for him to come along and say, no, the moon's cooling. Well, that the problem with that is that mathematically that doesn't work at all. And we have math. I had to do pages of math. And the problem is math they can't make the math say the wrong numbers.
No.
You know, they would have to cook the entire world so that everything worked, so that it was all a lie. Like it's almost more absurd than believing in the most crazy. I mean, it is I don't even know where to go. I'm stuck in a loop now.
Yeah, but see, I can't understand why they're coming up with this cold moonlight thing anyway. And if it was possible for it to be shining cold, then surely with a magnifying lens, just like you can with the sun, and concentrate the heat, surely you could concentrate the cold and make the spot really cold. But also, the moon is lit by the sun, so it can own. I mean, everything is lit by the sun. So if I have a mirror, have a mirror, surely that's reflecting better. So surely that should. I don't know where they're coming from with this. It's nuts.
Well, it's just a complete lack of. It comes, and let's face it, it comes a complete lack of actual understanding of physics, and then B, a complete distrust of all authority figures that tell them anything. It's the two combined. When you get the two of them together, that's what it turns into. It turns into this conspiratorial-minded attitude where everything the government tells you to lie. And the problem with it is, I mean, let's face it, just to get logical about it for a second, the reality is that the government is made up of regular people. And it's just almost naive to believe that all the people in the government are doing the same dance together. You know, and nobody's dissenting. I mean, you know, Bill Clinton couldn't keep a BJ secret.
But, I mean, do you think it's just a case of them just trying to be contrary? Right, here's an idea.
No, I think it's mental health problems. That's just to add that.
Yeah, well, we know that Oakley, I mean, he may have whatever mental health issues, but we know damn well he knows that the Earth's a globe because he shut Riley up when talking about a lighthouse, because I don't know the entire discussion, but because it was, as he put it, perfect proof for a sphere. So he knew that. So he's just arguing the case for the money.
Well, he is, yes. And here's the thing about Riley. I think that I actually don't know with Riley. Riley's pretty dumb, and so I believe that he may believe the Earth. He might. I don't think that Oakley does. I think Oakley knows that it's not flat. I think he knows where his money is coming from, and that's what he's after. And the problem is that the people that follow all of these people don't. They are mentally ill, and so they don't know that, and they don't believe it either. I mean, look at QE and stuff. The Black Swan, the first thing QE does is make 1 million shirts out of the Black Swan because he knows all the flat earthers are going to want their Black Swan shirt. That's it. The globe is dead.
Oh, dear.
And I'm not saying that's not clever. I mean,
I
give my hat to him for being clever and making money. And he's not doing it. He's not lying. I mean, if he doesn't believe the Earth is flat, he is. No. But I mean, he's selling them a shirt. They know what they're buying. And so really, in that sense, he's not lying to them. So I can't really fault him too much.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's unbelievable.
No, please go ahead. No.
No, it's an interesting conversation. I'm just wondering what they might come up with next. I mean, the Black Swan came out of nowhere, didn't it? And it's been done to death. And I actually put a vote out on my community. Did people want us to carry on with that? And the vote was no. We've had enough. And that's fair enough. But I'm looking for whatever the next thing is, because we've had relative density, we've had the Black Swan, we've had angle of attack. What else have we had? A whole bunch of things.
Well, now it's all like if Pew that key would
exactly, and they don't understand it. I mean, I've had my challenge vid out because Mitch from Australia used Modus Tollens, but the conclusion.
Okay, so what? Wait, I have to ask you there. Go ahead. You finish.
No. Go on, please.
I was just gonna ask you about I was fighting for you in Sleeping Warriors comments. I just want to know what happened there, because all I know is that he obviously, because I said to him, I said Sleepy, I said you completely took his words out of context. Absolutely. And misunderstood what he said. I said so by essence your entry was disqualified. So when he says nobody entered, I said perhaps he could have said nobody had a valid entrance. I said, but the bottom line is that your entrance was garbage. So I don't know what to tell you.
I actually saw those comments you posted. No, it wasn't that. he actually didn't make an entry because I mean, if he'd have dropped me a message in any form, I'd have accepted it, but he didn't. He had that video, and to that video, I actually put a comment in saying, not realising that was supposedly an entry, and I said, look, why don't you enter this competition? And he said, what do you mean? I've done this video. I said, look, this is what you have to do to enter, and email me.
So he just posted. So he just posted it on his channel and went, "What? I fucking entered."
Yes,
competition."
yes,
Like,
yes. That's it.
Like
That's,
you were supposed to go seek out his entrance.
yeah, but so I pointed out all that, and then I took his video as an entry anyway. And had he succeeded, I would have paid him £100. But he came up with exactly the same fail, because this is from memory. The words I used to Mitch were something like what was it? Oh, crumbs. I basically said that if everything you have said is correct and it isn't, then all you would have done is disproved the radius of the Earth. They turned that round to me saying that I was claiming the Earth radius was different. And I showed the actual words, and I said to him in my rejection of his video, I said, tell me, how is that in any way, shape or form me claiming either that the radius is different or that the Earth is not a sphere? And no one's been able to do it. And now Oakley again is talking about it on a live stream within the last couple of days. Someone says to him,
You see?
well, I didn't see it until someone pointed it out, because he has not emailed me and made an entry. Someone said to him, oh, Mr. Sensible's done a video aimed at you. Oh, has he? And they started to tell him about it. He said, oh, yes, this challenge, yada, 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 Mitch. Mr. Sensible agreed with everything he was saying. Well, I wasn't. I was acknowledging, okay, yes, this radius. Okay, we can see a horizon there. Okay. Do you know what I mean? I was agreeing his, or noting his points and his modus tollens, but then his conclusions wrong.
No, I watched it.
Yeah.
I saw that. I'm like, what sounds like, looks like it's just agreeing with the person that like,
Absolutely.
their premise. Like,
Exactly.
I'm like, he was doing what a conversational person does. They just
Yes.
follow along. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I understand what you're saying. Continue, sir.
Yeah, yeah. So anyway, after Oakley denied he knew I did a video, he apparently knew all about the video, and that is now on my live stream today, 10th of April, and he's still got until tomorrow to make an entry. He won't, but if he ever claims that he never knew about it, we all know he did, because he was talking about it on a live stream. So even if he doesn't enter and I don't comment on it, then he's bitch made anyway. But I'm putting a vote out on my community for anyone to vote, should I bother or not, because it's pathetic. It really is pathetic.
Well, I think what's funny is, okay, so listen, if his dog was really sick, I feel very sad about the puppy. But what I think is, I think, well, his dog might be sick, but I think the way this went down is bullshit. He gets accused of pissing on stream, and which he clearly did. We have analyzed that to death. He peed on that stream. You liar, Nathan, or Sleeping Warrior. That was you peeing. You can see you pinching your lips and everything. You can see the relief in your eyes. Oh, you can hear the stream pit in the back of the cup or the bottle. Like
Yeah,
it's there.
This is too much detail, Brady. Too much detail.
This isn't enough to demonetize you. But
No, I'm not worried about that. It's just disgusting.
Okay, fair enough. He then came out with that video where he did the whole like Westy Lung adventure with his dog, curing his dog with CBD oil. And the whole time I was watching it, I was like, oh God, like this is too good. He's like cooked up this whole video like, it's amazing, isn't it amazing? He's sending himself, and maybe they're not fake, but either way, it's just the whole video was just a scream for, I swear I didn't pee in that cup. Like, it was because his whole thing was that he was mixing drugs for his dog. And we all questioned those drugs. I mean, I did a whole stream where I showed all the drugs that you could prescribe for Westy Lung, and there is not a drug in the world that you fill the dog's freaking water dish with. Because the problem is, if the dog spills it, drinks half of it, drinks part of it, you can never guarantee that the solution is, like evenly mixed. It is the worst way to give drugs to an animal, is to give it to him in a beverage.
I mean, you'd had more respect that if he turned around and said, look, it was a really good live stream. I didn't want to, and yeah, I just peed in a bottle. I didn't think anyone would hear it. My bad. I
Just
won't do
turn
it
off
again.
the camera. He's in OBS. You just click the little eyeball and he would have disappeared. And then even if you got a little sound, you'd be like, maybe he pissed on stream. You'd have nothing else to go by. But instead, we can zoom in on his face and see him parse his lips. And like, oh, there it goes. Like you can see it. It's pretty plain as day. So, anyways, that's all we were laughing about. We're like, Jesus Christ, it's like the ultimate laziness. Although I got accused of not washing my hands because my bathroom is literally like 5 feet behind my green screen. And I was like, I gotta go to the bathroom, and I like disappeared, came back like was like maybe 40 seconds later, and everybody's like, did you even wash your hands? I'm like, the trick is to not dry them. You just shake them off as you run.
Oh dear. Oh, what
Fair
a
enough,
laugh.
though. I was back pretty quick.
Well,
So then I was like, oh no, this is right after him too. I'm like, no, not a new contract.
well,
It's all gonna be about
I
me
do,
not washing my hands.
I do honestly recommend you look at his video. I probably will as well, but I'm a bit tied up just the next few days, I think. But someone's got to debunk it, and if you know a lot about cooling, it could be the
I
perfect
mean, I'll
one
look
for you.
at it. I'll see if I can. But I mean, the problem is, right? I mean, if there's any flaws in his experimentation or his recordings and stuff, and like, then obviously it's going to be hard to debunk that. Although I guess a guy could do his own experiment just like it, but fair enough.
Well, Irish.
I have to find my laser heat. My what is it? The infrared one.
Yes.
I gotta find mine. I know I own one, but you know how that goes.
Yeah, but I certainly don't, and so I'd have no way of replicating the experiment. Irish Dublin says
I mean, the other problem
he is a
cheap-
he is a bitch, and his wife is the boss. But isn't that always the way?
Talking about me?
No, about Riley, I think.
Rather?
I assume so.
The other problem is with cheap thermal sensors, 1 degree. I mean, Jesus. For instance, some of those will only do like maybe his only did 1 degrees. Maybe it did 0.5s. But I mean, some of them will rock like it'll see like for instance, it might say 0.5 when one is let's say it was just 10.65 kind of
Yes.
thing, and it's gonna say and then all of a sudden it goes up by 0.01 or 0.03, and all of a sudden it rotates them up a degree or a half a degree. There's we get, even the one I have is just like you buy a Canadian Tire, it costs $50. It works. It's got a laser pointer on it. You check temperatures on things. Let's face it, you're usually not worried about a half a degree. You
Yes.
use it for walking up to something. You want to see if a hot water tank's working. You can walk up to it and hit the top of it, hit the bottom. You can see the temperature difference on items. Oh shit, there's a 20-degree difference across here.
Well,
You can use it to find hot spots on things. And
it would be interesting to see what the error bar is on the camera, because if he's
Did he use a
claimed
FLIR?
it is a FLIR, but I don't, and I'm actually looking at the FLIR website now.
The FLIR 1, it'll be the FLIR,
FLIR
1.
1.
It'll be right.
That sounds
It'll be
familiar.
the one that plugs into your Android.
That's right.
And
That's right.
I want one myself for looking at the beehives, because in the winter.
Oh,
can
you
actually
keep
walk up-
bees. I used to keep.
Hives are live right now.
Yeah, I used to keep bees. Fascinating hobby, isn't it?
Yeah, no. Well, I make where I live, the bees produce a shit ton of honey. Like I can get up to 300 pounds per hive.
That is pretty
So,
good.
um,
I mean,
Yeah,
I did.
I have 11 hives usually, so.
I did 50 pounds from a hive, and I thought that was quite good. I actually spent a summer working for a beekeeper, and during that summer, we pulled, I think it was about 1.5 tons of honey from his hives. It's a
My buddy does.
fascinating thing.
My buddy does 40,000 pounds a year is his quota from the government, or from not the government, whatever organization he gives his honey to.
Yeah.
It's 40,000 pounds. It's a Praxair. It's like an liquid oxygen tanker truck. Like it's a liquid tanker.
Yes.
Of honey, and that's off of 100 hive.
Well,
I
I
produce
think he had
100
about.
hives off a new hive, or 100 pounds off one. A first-year hive will produce 100 pounds.
Yeah, well, this friend of mine, I think he had about 100. I'm trying to remember. He had about 112 hives, I think. Yeah, but he also did queen rearing, and that was a fascinating thing.
Oh, that you can make, and that's a neat thing. Like they get into literally picking the males and actually inseminating the queens and stuff. They get They've got a little stand they mount the girl into and everything. It's really weird.
Oh, he didn't do that. He had nukes. He put virgin queens in a nuke with a bunch.
I split my. I see what you're talking about. Yeah, there's different levels of it. Like some of the breeders though, like the big breeders that you buy, like big companies you buy queens from for genetics and stuff.
Yeah.
They will literally have like a little thing where they will manually, inseminate.
Bondage for bees.
No, it's crazy. They have a little. Yeah. It's just like think of this little stainless steel little stand and like a little thing you strap the queen into. It's the craziest thing. Yeah. I'm like, wow, that's like something out of like a Clockwork Orange for bees.
Well, I mean, he used to from the nukes. He would capture the queen and put it in one of those little transport cages, and I would capture sort of 3 or 4 workers and put them in. Of course, you're in full sun and kitted up, and you just get too hot. And these were quite calm, so you ended up taking so ended up just taking off. Well, you couldn't do it with your gloves on anyway, because you were picking them up by hand, and the mask just got too hot, so you take that off. So you're just working there, barehanded and barefaced. And
well, you're braver than me. I don't do bare hands.
Well, that was only with the queen rearing. He had other.
But even then, I just don't. I'm just really careful with the gloves on. I wear fairly fitted gloves, but I just honestly, I got stung in the thumb once, and I have to work with my hands. Jesus Christ! Like I was moving slow. But they'll. I mean, you've seen it. There's just days where you open the hive, and they're like, you know what? You can just fuck right off. And you're like, why? I'm just here I got to do this. And they're like, no, you leave now. And so like, I like wearing the gloves and stuff because I got another job, and sometimes my schedule and the bee's schedule don't always align. And I can be like, you know what? I'm kind of pushing through you guys a little bit, and they'll sting my suit and stuff. And I just kind of keep moving a little bit. As long as I'm quick, I'll just get out of those hives quick. Right. Like maybe I won't check them as much as I was gonna. I'll just like, okay, that's what I wanted to see. Put everything back together.
Yeah.
Close it up.
But I mean, the queens in little nukes. And for that, sorry, I didn't say nukes is a tiny little hive just with a little bit of comb in and just a small number of bees. They were so calm because we'd actually.
Little hives are super calm.
Yeah, so they're the workers are busy trying to stuff themselves with honey because you smoke them and they think there's going to be a fire, so they're getting ready to abandon. So
they don't have any old bees. The old bees are the grisly old nasty bastards.
So they've got their heads down, sucking up honey. Bums in the air, and the wings are stuck out, and you just pinch their wings and take them out and put them into a cage like a Swan Vesta box of matches, and then they get posted to people who'd bought them. And if they paid a little extra, the queens get their wings clipped or a wing clipped, so that if once it arrives at its new home, if it abandoned the hive, couldn't fly, so it would land on the floor, all the other bees would surround it. So you know exactly where your queen is.
My buddy does the wing clipping. I don't do the wing clipping. I just let her leave.
Yeah.
The problem with the wing clipping is they can do exactly that, where they go to leave the hive and they fall on the floor, but then sometimes they don't make it back in the hive. So then you just got a whole bunch you go out there and the bees are underneath the hive. And
Well, Sable Eagle has just said, I saved a bumblebee recently. Well done, Sable. Bare hands, waiting for the bee to crawl onto me. Walk to a flower, wait for the bee to crawl off onto the flower, no problem. Sable Eagle, it's no problem anyway, because bumblebees don't sting.
That's not true, is it?
I believe it is.
I don't think it is.
I'm going to have to Google this now.
Because around here, there's only one kind of native bee in this part of the world is bumblebees. It's different forms of bumblebees and stuff is where I live. The honeybees are an imported bee. So I'm sure I've been stung by a bumblebee.
Well, it actually says here on the first link, bumblebees rarely sting. Now, I thought that they couldn't sting.
I think if you get in your shirt, I think we've had all of a sudden it crawls in a shirt. You put the shirt on after swimming. I've seen that happen multiple times. And they slam you. But they don't sting much because let's face it, their hives are in the ground. When are you near their hive?
Yeah. So Sable, my apologies. And well done anyway for saving it. Where are we for time?
People call me to try to save honeybees or bumblebees all the time. And unfortunately, I have to tell them. It's really unfortunate, but I have to say, listen, there's nothing I can do. Like if you've got one of those clusters hanging from a tree, because around here we have honeybees are like an actual part of the economy.
Yeah.
There's so much canola. I think you guys call it rapeseed.
Yes.
But they're so the yellow stuff or whatever. But it produces tons of honey. But so a lot of people know what a bee hanging out of a tree. But even then, one day I'd just become a beekeeper. I was only a year or so into it, and my buddy down the road comes up and he's like, "Man, you got any like wasp killer? There's a huge nest in a tree or whatever." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." I grabbed it, pedaled my bike over there, and it's a big freaking bee cluster hanging out of a tree about head height.
Yeah.
I'm like, "Oh my god!" I'm like, "Nobody touched that thing at all." And I ran home and hammered together another box, and I went over and shook them in there.
Yeah.
She ended up being the most powerful queen I had for the
Yeah.
next 4 years.
Well,
Because all of her offspring were good winterers, and swarms are really powerful.
yeah, swarms are amazing, aren't they? Just one last question, because then I'm going to have to wrap up.
Yeah.
When you get them swarming, have you ever used that technique of walking amongst a swarm, making a banging noise, perhaps on a pan or something, to get them to settle down? Have you ever heard of that?
You? I have not.
Yes, we've done that. So you got
Does
this.
it work?
Well, it didn't when I did it, because we had one of mine swarmed into my, they're flying around my neighbour's garden, so it was a great big cloud of them. But yeah, the beekeeper friend of mine did it. So walked through, clang, 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 and they settled down. So you'd not
To
heard
be
of that?
honest
Or done
with you, the last time I got into a swarm, I was about to go. It was hanging out of the tree. I showed up. I ran back home. It was huge. It was like half. You know what I mean? Like one of those swarms. There's like 50,000 bees hanging in there,
Yeah.
hanging in the tree. And it was the peak at the summer, which is fine because they've left queens behind. I mean,
Yeah.
I just go through, squish the excess, and I make sure there's a new generation to take up the torch and stuff. So it's all good. It's part of nature. But still, I go to collect them if I can because they're powerful. That's my queen. I paid for that girl probably. And so I go to capture her or whatever, and all of a sudden they just in front of me dissolve out of the tree to go move to the next location.
Yeah.
And I decided just to stand there in the middle of the swarm. You know what? People say swarms don't sting. They can eat balls. They can eat balls for hell. Like just because it's suddenly I'm getting nailed in the earlobes and stuff because you're surrounded by them. And at the same time, though, it made me question that may not have been that swarm. There's a hive I started figuring out right in there that it was near the end of the year. So I said, listen, next year, if you're being a bitch like this, you're gonna die. You know what I mean? Because the queen makes the young, right?
Yeah.
And there's a hive in there that when I go near it, like if I open it, they just come at me like, "Hey,
Oh,
we haven't
yeah.
seen you in a week."
Yeah, he had one like that. It was absolutely terrible, and I dreaded working on this one hive. As soon as you went there, all they did was attack. I mean, yeah.
Well, and I'm sure they're attacking people on the road. Then if I can't get out of the goddamn van to go service them, then they're going to chase people that walk by on the road.
But
And
these
it is in
are
the country,
these are
but that, I don't like.
yeah.
that.
These were out in fields. But it was protected, had gloves and all the kits, so it didn't really get stung. But you can't work when you've got bees crawling all over your gloves. But
Okay, so I got one question when you're done for you. And
okay, well, let me read this super chat. You have your question, and then I'm going to have to wrap up for night. It's from Bjorn Kamitz.
sure.
It's Bjorn Kamitz who super chatted 100 Swedish kroner saying, "Thanks for the show, Mr. S. I'm going to have a look at Sean G's hangout before I hit the Slack. Keep up." Sorry, stretch the window. "Keep up the great work. I'm proud to be a patron to a sensible human." Thank you very, very much, Bjorn. And it's been great to have you here. Okay, Brainy, go on in. What's your question? And then we'll have to
Have you ever had a hive do a bad reaction on you in the they like clearly lost their and if you've had that happen, you know what?
Sorry, you're breaking up a bit. I mean, I work.
Sorry, can you hear me now?
I can, yeah. I worked for this guy for one summer, and it was such a good summer. He said to me, "What did I want? Did I want a cash bonus or do I want a beehive?" And I said, "Do you know what? I'll have a beehive." And he actually gave me 3 with 3 colonies, and absolutely loved it. And my colonies were excellent. It was only one of his that were, and most of them were ordinary. Yeah, some were a bit more
But
moody.
you never
than others.
had one do an actual bad reaction, quote unquote, on you, because they can flip a switch. Like I had a hive that was generally a good hive. Like you could walk up to them and they wouldn't bug you at the vehicle, and you could put your hood on while you were standing in front of the hive. And whereas sometimes you have a hive where you're like putting the hood on 50 feet away.
Yeah,
because you're like they're gonna come visit me when I'm getting near it.
No, it's just this
but all I
one.
was gonna say is.
One bad hive of his.
Okay, because this hive, I mean, I think it was hot. I was sweating a little too much. I think I dripped too much sweat inside the hive, and they got pissy to the point where all of a sudden I started realizing that I had bees stuck all over my suit. Literally, they were stuck all over me. And then I was like, oh, God, they're upset. So all of a sudden they started boiling out of the hive like boiling out of a cauldron. Coming over the top of the box, and I started going, oh shit. So I started assembling the hive boxes as quick as I could, because I think it was about 5 tall with honey at that point.
Yeah.
And and they were coming out of the box as fast as I could squish them and squish some of the ones around the rim as they stacked the boxes. They were pouring out of the next box to the point where I finally put the lid on and stood back, and they started pouring out of the entranceway, and they actually walked halfway up the hive and covered the hive in bees.
No,
they surrounded the whole thing and like shielded it like it was Ghostbusters 2.
Yeah, no, I've not had anything like that happen. No,
it was crazy. I told my friend about it, and he just laughed. He's a beekeeper, career beekeeper, and he just laughed. He said, you pissed him off."
Yes. Okay, well, I am going to have to call it an end because I've got an early start tomorrow. So, Brainy, thank you very, very much for dropping in. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for putting up with my chattiness.
No, you're quite welcome. Do check out Riley's video. I would genuinely be interested to hear your views on that. Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much. Thank you. So you're welcome. Thank you, everybody. It's been great. Thank you for all the super chats. I've got the video out tomorrow, like I said, which is the David Icke band video. So I'll be interested to see how that goes. And as for next week, I'm not sure what I've got planned. I'm currently on reserve at work, but they've been calling me in anyway, so I don't know when I'll be off, when I won't. So we'll have to see what comes up. I wish you all well, and I wish that you all stay well. Please look after yourselves. Look forward to seeing you all again soon. Until next time, stay sensible. With massive thanks to all my patrons, including new patrons Andy Woods, Glenn Chapman, Dark Saber, Chris Holmes, Crafty Keeler, Nal Pinion, William Schofield, Nicola Redmond, AZ Atheist, Grumpy Old Man and Hugh Jars, and my latest patrons Larry XK and Nuha Escalina. Thank you all so very much.